Hello again. So today we are going to start making a sword for somebody. It's for a small little film. I'm not entirely sure of the details, other than that they've got a design for a sword. So I'm just going to start kind of like, I've been sort of looking at the pictures, doing a little bit of research, and yeah, just kind of getting myself familiar back to sort of all sorts of things, really, kind of back to where I was before in terms of like, okay, because I haven't made anything for a while. I've just been doing this place. So I'm just going to start doing, what I'm going to start doing is mapping it out, kind of like what I'll do is he's given me the sizes that he wants. And I'm going to start to gather my sort of where I'm going to go with it, how I'm going to do it, what materials I have in stock. There's really no budget for this, so I'm going to try and use everything that's here, which I'm pretty sure I've got most things. Yeah, I'm sort of 98% sure. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some brown paper and start mapping it out to the scale that he's sent me, so I can get a physical idea of what works in terms of what he's asked for and what I feel works as an actual sword. I've sort of done a little bit of drawing today, nothing major, just kind of like taking his drawing and then I overlaid it with a 1 to 10 scale, as in he's given me in centimeters and I did it in millimeters, just and overlaid the rough shape with blocks, so I could see where if his scale that he wants fits the drawing that he sent me. Does that make sense? I think it does. So I'll work on that, so I've got a blocked out version, and then I'll start to kind of block out kind of just like what I've got here, as I said, having a look at the materials I've got in stock. I've got a few ideas of kind of in my head of kind of how I can do it. Not entirely sure how I'm going to do it yet. So yeah, so that's the plan. Let me turn some more lights on. Does that work? So yeah, there we go. I will film as much as I can today on my phone, and then when I get started properly, as I said, today's really just more about finishing off, tidying up in here. I've got a little bit more to do in here, and then as I said, I'll start mapping out. But anyway, thanks for joining. I will film some more, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll try and answer them. All right. Right, so this is the bit I haven't quite worked out yet. In the drawings, he's got it so the handle is that wide. I don't think that's way too wide, but that's what he's got in the drawings. So I'm sort of doing it because I have no idea what he wants to use it for. That's more sword-like. It's very wide, and then there's a bit that's outside. I've got the hilt gluing up outside because this is a piece of timber. I think this is ash. When I took over the place, there was a whole load of stuff left over, but I'm not a woodworker, so as you can probably tell, I think it's ash. But it's going to be all covered up anyway. But it's a nice piece of wood. I've never really done much woodworking I've never really done any woodworking, like proper woodworking, you know what I mean. So yeah, pummel. Now in the drawings, it's kind of diamond shaped. I'll put some clips on to show you what the drawing looks like. I haven't quite worked out what that is yet. Really, this is the first time that I've kind of been in here with a project on the go. So everything is kind of set as I've kind of just been like making do with the workshop, but not actually kind of like implementing it in properly into a kind of workflow situation. So this is interesting. I'm sort of noticing a few little things, problems with the sander over there. This kind of needs to be sort of a bit more tweaked, I think is the word. yeah, so there's sort of, it's sort of working, but yeah, definitely going to have to take a few jobs to kind of like really get to understand how the space works, especially if it's a bigger job. I mean, this is kind of fairly easy really, and not particularly it's kind of a fun job really, because there's not really that much to kind of like go wrong. Back on this machine, I use I mean, all these tools are all really dangerous all the time, but I quite a while ago now I did my thumb on one of these. Wasn't pretty, and yeah, ever since then it's always sent me a little bit kind of I think this is why I've never really wanted to kind of make videos of a show and tell, or videos that are not so much me working, but kind of a how-to video, because one, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I'm making it up. Two, I can be a little bit dangerous. Shh. And so, I mean, I've still got all of them. The things that I'm sort of a bit aware of putting videos out there, because I'm always aware of, especially after you do cut yourself a couple of times, it makes you a little bit more, every time you're a little bit like, oh, okay, I'm not going to rush. And I think that's the one. It's just, I think now I'm much more considerate in terms of, one, I like my fingers, and two, I think I take a breath. I try 90, 80, 85% of the time. I take a breath before I cut things and look at my hands to see where they are before I do things. And then that sort of makes me kind of go, if I'm looking at my hands, then I'm kind of paying attention to what I'm doing and not anything else. But it still scares the bejesus out of me. Yeah, that was not a fun day, but very lucky as well, because I didn't chip the bone, but I did take the top off. Anyway, it's quite enough of that. I'm not too bothered about kind of, at the moment, a lot of these fine details can be sort of brought in. There's a little nick in there because of the table saw, but that's fine. I can fill that. I'm going to do a load of filling and stuff, and also put tape on it and things and everything. So that's all fine. And then the bit that I'm a bit kind of like not looking forward to, but is the shaping of the hilt. But it'll be fine. Once I get into it, it'll be fine. And then that goes on there. And then we have that on the end there. So that'll be screwed on. So there we have our basic shape of a sword. And a load of sawdust. And a load of mess. So, I have to say, not having made something like this for a while does perk my, I do enjoy, this for me, this is flow state. There's little things that I'm kind of like, how am I going to do that? I don't really have a lathe. This would be perfect for a lathe, but I don't have one. So I'm going to have to sort of come up with another plan. And so, yeah. Not sure yet. This might be a bit small. I was thinking about this last night. If I do end up, I think this is too small. Because once I take those corners off, it's really going to be that round. I have a book. This is what we used to use before the internet. Funny enough. So yeah, so this is quite a good book for reference pictures. I think I just found it. These, I mean, charity shops for this kind of thing, or thrift stores, whatever you want to call them, it's great for this kind of thing, and it's really handy having just something that you can sit and sort of look over and kind of look at the detail, rather than sort of, I don't know, I'm not a Luddite or anything in terms of technology and stuff, and I think from a book perspective, having something to kind of sit and sort of get your juices flowing just feels a little bit more tangible. I don't know, but I do like books, and yeah, charity shops for this kind of thing are amazing, and I sort of pick them up all the time. I've got loads of kind of reference books, and I'm always printing things out, because I feel like when I'm sort of working, being able to have something that doesn't keep having to die, like plugging iPads in and all that kind of stuff. Sword itself, the blade is looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. It's quite big, as I said before. You see, that's the light catching that. A little bit of detail on there. It's quite good. And I've shaped the sides. So that's good. And then started that. So maybe what I need to do is kind of do some sort of thing on here so this sinks in there a little bit more. I don't like that at the moment. It does have a little thing on here, but so maybe I can do a sort of yeah, maybe I'll do something on here. Oh, I've got just something coming down there like that, maybe sort of at the top, and sort of, yeah, maybe that. Another bit of detail on there is quite nice. Yeah, a lot more shaping to do on that. That's nowhere near as ready yet. Just taking the corners off, taking all the edges off. Anyway, so there we go. That's where I'm at the moment. I'm just going to finish off doing that, and then it's the pommel. I still haven't quite worked that one out yet. There you go. Yeah, so that's first coat. You can see all the wood grain still in that, but that's fine. There's a little bit of a nick at the top there. Can you see that? And then just that needs a bit of a filling, but that's why you sort of do the undercoat, really, so you can sort of see, oh, okay, there's a little hole there, and but that's fine as a sort of a first pass. Happy with that. Now, I didn't plan that, did I? I didn't know what am I going to do with it. Stand and hold it for 10 minutes. There we go. Now we just have the boring task of sanding this back again. I'm quite happy with how that's come out. That little bit of detailing there, I'm quite pleased how that's come out. That sort of, and I can shape that a little bit more. It's a bit messy now, but that's fine. So yeah, more sanding. So I'm almost there. I'm just about to give it a coat of paint. I've said this a few times now, but I always forget. So much sanding. This place is so dusty now. I've got the extractor on, and yeah, it's pretty much everything's covered in dust. But never mind, it's fine. And there's probably going to be some more sanding, but I'm going to give it a coat of paint, just as a dusting, just to kind of like see where I'm at, what else needs filling. I've said this before, but it just kind of flattens everything out a little bit and gives me a bit more of a like an idea where I'm at. Have to say, I'm kind of going through that sort of roller coaster of it's rubbish moment. Happens occasionally when you sort of get to a certain point with a project and you're a bit like, oh, is this right? And it's kind of too late to sort of like change courses, and it's going to be fine. I know that, but it never kind of stops that feeling of like, oh, you are rubbish at this. But never mind, it's fine. I've got to get over that. So yeah, I'm going to give a bit of a spray. I've got some various different sprays here. Not looking too bad. There's definitely some patches that I know that I need to clear up. Yeah, so there's not a lot I can do really. I might as well just, what's the time? I might have an early lunch. Oh, that's drying. Yeah, lunchtime. So I've done a couple of coats of paint, and I had a bit of I had a little tackle at kind of like just refining the shape of the guard, the hand guard. Yeah, I wasn't quite happy with it, but I sort of, as I said before, I'm kind of down a certain path now, and it's very difficult to sort of correct course a little bit. But never mind, it's fine. It is kind of the picture. It's sort of getting there. I mean, it looks fine. It's just had that. I've just been sanding it and sanding it and sanding it, and I gave it a coat. I did have a bit of a moment where I tried something out and it really wasn't working for me, so so I basically just covered the whole thing in filler. So it's not looking too bad now. There's still a little bit of detailing. Remember, there's a kind of a strap to kind of go around, like a leathery sort of thing. This is black and white, but yeah, sort of a strap to kind of go around it. So I'm sort of playing with some stuff at the moment. Is that touched? Yeah, it's still a bit wet. So not sure. Yeah, but it's still a few little bits that are kind of just niggling that I'm not quite happy with. But yeah, I think it's all right. The silhouette's quite good on camera. I haven't noticed that before, but as I said, it's a beast of a sword. I think I've said that a few times now. Anyway, right, well, so I'm going to tidy up now and let this dry properly. I might give the whole thing another coat of paint just to kind of seal it all off, and then the fun begins really. I might do a bit more filling. There's a bit around here that I'm not quite happy with, but that's just me being picky. Once it's got all the other bits and pieces on it, it should look fine. But I'm back on it. I didn't come in yesterday. I did some other bits and pieces, and sometimes I feel sometimes when I'm working on these things there isn't a major rush for it, but you know, I've got to get it done. But sometimes when you're not happy with something, it's quite good just to kind of walk away and let the dust settle, literally, and then come back afresh. So I come in this morning and I looked at it and I'm like, actually, you know what? I'm sort of, yeah, I'm happy. I think I'm procrastinating now a little bit because it's kind of, I always seem to do this with the final stages. I think it's just getting it across that line, because now it's like everything I've done up to this point is changeable. I can finesse it and rework it and sand it back if I wanted to. If I could be quite drastic if I wanted to, because I'm in that stage of kind of getting it done. Whereas now it's like there is no more fiddling around with it, so to speak. I've just got to kind of work at it and make it how it's going to look in its final sort of phases. So it's always a bit kind of like, oh, if you mess up, no, it's not so much messing up, but if you kind of, if there's something kind of not particularly you're happy with, now's the time to change it, whether that means kind of going back a little bit or whatever it is, before you start to kind of like really finalise things, because preparation, yeah, I suppose it's a bit like the kind of the whole sort of when people talk about doing painting and decorating in houses and stuff, it's kind of prep is kind of a massive part, because the more prep you put in, I know it sounds a bit obvious, but I think it's kind of, just for me, it's sort of just reiterating it in my head why I feel a little bit kind of like, because I'm sort of seeing things that I go, well, that's going to come and bite me on the arse in a minute. Or that bit's going to not look good, because I sort of know the next stages and what it's kind of what the limitations are of kind of what I'm doing, like the tape I'm using. There's a certain amount of limitations to what this will do in terms of making it look like a metal sword, but any sort of like anomalies in this, because this is quite thin, you can get different thicknesses of this, but this is what I've got in stock. So whatever's here, this is going to kind of emulate that. Now sometimes that's kind of fine, because you can kind of go, well, I sort of know that I can sort of deal with that a bit later. So yeah, so I think there's a sort of, that's why I'm sort of, not that you'd know this, but that's why I'm feeling a little bit like, all right, okay, what am I going to do? What am I doing? Prep. So, and I want to jump into this bit. That's the fun bit. I want to do the dirtying down and kind of getting it sort of, I want to see it finished, but I'm also very aware of little bits that I know that I'm going to be like, should have done that. Right. Now this is not too bad on both sides. There is definitely what I would call a hero side. I mean, it's pretty kind of close. But sometimes when you're doing things, it's always good to kind of have a look, especially when you're making something for camera, and to kind of recognise the good side, if that's possible, with the kind of thing that you're making. Because then you can kind of favour that. So what I would tend to do is, especially with something like this, I would do the not so good side first, just so I can kind of get my eye back in again to what I'm doing, and then when I come to do the hero side, it should be, I should have my eye in, yeah. So here we go. So what am I doing? Where am I going? Straight down the middle? No. Straight down the middle. This is always one of those techniques that it can feel like it's going incredibly wrong. I mean, obviously it can go wrong, but sometimes it can feel like it's going right in the wrong direction. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, it's fine. This is just one of those plastic razor blades. They're great for kind of having in the studio. Really handy for all sorts of things when you want something flat and potentially sort of, yeah, they're really handy. Right, let's cut that one first. Now I tend to favour my seams being either kind of right on the edge there, and then also in the crevices, because I know that I'm going to kind of, that recess in the middle there, I know that I'm going to take down in kind of colour wise. I'm going to darken it right down, so that should hide the crimes in that little bit. And then obviously this is kind of, you're never going to really see that edge as an edge, you're only ever going to see one side or another, you know, it's always going to be. And then obviously I'm going to sort of darken it down as well, so there's a lot to kind of play with pretty well. Oh, you see, look, idiot. Now, there's a little hole, I've just dug into that, but I feel, well, I know with painting and when I sort of come to sort of do a finish on this, I'm going to obviously use, well not obviously, but I'm going to use a bit of silver paint as well, just to kind of, because obviously this is supposed to be a steel sword, so and that little nick tells me slow down gently. I think that's one of my biggest problems, is I'm a bit of a just flying in and I think I need to just slow down, take my time. This technique, a while ago I'll find some still images of it I made for a show once. I made like a gold box that had a particular sort of style to it, and I used this technique, but what I put underneath of it, I mean I did it on a few things, I cut out kind of some cardboard shapes underneath. So if I wanted to put something raised on here, like a logo or something like that, you can put it on wherever you want. If you wanted something higher, and then cover it with the foil, and then you get that kind of I'm not sure what technique it was sort of emulating, but as I said, I'll put some pictures on of the gold box, and then just use paints and stuff to kind of highlight and low light the image. So this foil is quite thin. It's quite thin. It comes in different thicknesses of it. So there's stuff like that, which is, this all comes from sort of plumbing and air ducting and that kind of stuff. And then there's this one, which is Premier Coating Converters Limited, and this is really much thicker. I'll give you an example. So how much of that, I've just peeled the back off of that one, and how much of that's holding its and then obviously that, can you see the difference? So the difference, this is more thick tin foil, this one, and this is, I mean, and this is thicker, well not thick tin foil, but aluminium foil, and whereas this one is much thicker. You can buy foil like this without the stickiness for it, like if you're roasting a turkey or something, you want thick stuff, but this is a lot thicker. Now the reason why I'm sort of saying this is that the next stage is to kind of take it down a little bit and sort of use the make it sort of look a bit more metal. So you sort of sand it a little bit. Now obviously it being quite thin, you don't have that much to play with, so to speak. As in, it will go. You know, you'll rip it, or. Whereas the slightly thicker stuff, the reason why I didn't use this is because there'll be lots of seams, and it'll be difficult to kind of hide, especially with the thicker stuff. But it's handy when you're doing small things. Yeah, so there's a sort of a sense of kind of just when I'm sort of sanding this, I'm going to give it a paint. I'm going to give it a coat of black paint. Right, where are we at? So we've got various things out to test out. A bit of a brush on this, a bit of just some wire wool. Really gently, just kind of, because it does come off pretty quick. And I kind of want to leave some of this on, so it's sort of building up a bit of a layer. But this gunmetal is pretty good for kind of giving that little bit of this is the kind of thing that you sort of just have to keep going. A little bit on, a little bit off. Don't touch. I rescued this from the street. Somebody was throwing out an old leather sofa, so I grabbed the cushions, and it's been in storage ever since, and it was a while ago now. But it is handy. I think in my mind I had an idea of making a bag. I think that was what I was always kind of thinking, but I'm not really. I think there was a certain amount of wishful thinking. One day I'll make a bag. Brown leather, and I've just sprayed it with some just some spray, and then kind of just watered it, you know, just added a bit of black to the mix, and I'm sort of, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm also, what I'm going to do, sort of making it up as I go along now, really. Some little kind of little cuffs, or I don't know, what's it called? Little pieces to go around the top and the bottom, just to neaten up that edge a little bit. And then yeah, and then what I'll probably do is kind of little rivets, just to sort of add a bit of detail. I think yeah, just a little bit more detail on there, just to and then we're almost there. It's just a little bit more touching up and a little bit more finessing. Right, so one final pass, and then I think I'm going to call that done. I'm pretty pleased with that. It's kind of come out all right. It's sort of, it's funny, these things always tend to sort of come along and bite you on the arse, and you never quite know which bit is going to sort of annoy you when you're sort of doing it. But yeah, it's and sort of, I might give it a coat of just protection, just a bit of a spray, just some gloss or matte, just to kind of do that, and then package it up and send it. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a fun build for me. It feels like a bit of a long build, but I think I was taking my time and just enjoying it, really. I'll see you again soon, and yeah, do all the things down below. If you haven't got any questions, let me know. And if you endorse it, hit me up. Come and have a cup of tea. Anyway, bye.